from our 7 Tasmania studios. Your nightly news with Louise Hubar begins now.
Turning locally now, and one person has died and a pedestrian was injured in a single car crash at Beaconsfield. A 44-year-old local woman was the driver of the car, which hit a tree on World Street late yesterday. Another woman who was walking on the roadside at the time was also hurt. She was taken to Launceston General Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Labor says a right to information request shows Tasmania's health system has seen a worker exodus, with more than 1,400 staff leaving in the past year. The state government insists it's continuing a recruitment blitz and offering incentives to attract and retain staff.
Crippling workforce levels and a budget bloodbath, the state's opposition warns that's the reality Tasmania's health system and its workers are facing.
But they are working in a system that is under enormous pressure, the most pressure that the government has ever put on a health service in Tasmania's history.
State Labor saying a right to information request shows almost 1,500 workers have left the sector in the past 12 months.
The rate of nurses leaving the health system has more than doubled over the last 4 years,
putting even more pressure on staff already grappling with diminishing workforce levels.
Short staffing, shifts not being fully allocated, under-resourcing and stretched conditions in the health service.
The cuts mean the need for outsourcing medical staff is increasing.
They are a necessary part of the health system. And they're used as prudently as possible by the government.
But new figures show $180 million has been spent on locum doctors and nurses in the last financial year alone,
which costs the system between 2 to 3 times more per job than it would to directly employ those health workers.
But the state government says they're needed to fill the gaps to ensure Tasmanians receive the care they need. The government stands by its current recruitment blitz, saying almost 1,000 staff have been employed in the last few months. And despite $600 million being cut from the health services, the government says recruitment, retention and incentives remains a priority.
We know that we've got more work to do. That's why we're investing in hiring more staff, and we'll continue to do so.
Rebecca Gaidaneris at 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's Director of Racing says he's received responses from 2 harness racing identities charged over allegations of race fixing and cruelty to animals. Leading trainer Ben Yole, his brother Tim and 2 others face charges which were laid earlier this week under Australian harness racing rules. The charges followed a lengthy investigation by racing expert Ray Murray, which was made public earlier this year. Director of Racing Robin Thompson says a determination will be made on Monday on the show cause notices issued to the men. AFL legends have relived their glory days in a popular charity match between Tasmania and Victoria. In the rematch of our historic State of Origin win over our northern neighbours, one famous face was missing.
Reliving the rivalry between 2 proud footy states.
When the Vics play Tassie, it's always a pretty hostile environment out there on the ground.
But in the Sheds pre-match, it was all fun and games.
To just catch up and have a bit of a laugh. Some of the southern guys that we've had some good rivalries with over the years. So, yeah, it's nice to just see everyone and have a bit of a catch-up.
The annual charity match, a replay of Tassie's famous victory over Victoria in the league's State of Origin. Young fans keen to meet their heroes and snag an autograph or 2.
Each bloke we ask, they always give us an autograph. They're all so nice.
I don't really know much of the players that I've got signatures of. They're all just too good.
Held in the north for just the 2nd time in the event's history, for 3-time Premiership Lion Darryl White, Georgetown's deck is the star of the show.
It's up there with the AFL. Yeah, it'd be a beautiful backdrop to maybe have an AFL game here one day in the near future. It's sensational.
Running out under blue skies, one famous face was missing for first bounce. Brendan Favola pulling up sick.
He's been up all night, obviously not real well, but yeah, it is what it is, unfortunately. But I might give Tassie a better chance because Fev had 19 shots on goal last year and kicked 10 goals 9.
That prediction holding water, the Island running away with a commanding lead through the 2nd and 3rd quarters. Russell Robertson booting 9 goals for the Island. The Big V putting up a big fight in the final term, but it wasn't enough, finishing 146 to 118.
I said it's a great cause at the end of the day. The young fellas are enjoying it, getting their cards out and seeing some of us old blokes and they go, oh, he was a footballer.
Money raised from the match is being donated to Food Bank. Annie Green, 7 Tasmania News.
Taswater is asking everyday Tasmanians for their advice at a series of panel events over coming months. 45 people from all walks of life have been selected from a pool of more than 3,000 to deliver recommendations on services and pricing.
Taswater is a monopoly. Our customers don't get to choose if they use our service. So I see it as an imperative for Taswater to understand the views of its community.
I have 2 small young children. It's very important to me to have a sustainable resource that, is a basic human right.
The panel's recommendations will be used to inform decisions around pricing for the next 4 years. With the warmer weather approaching, preparations for the Taste of Summer Festival are gaining momentum. Organisers are promising a palate-pleasing lineup of food and music, giving locals and visitors the chance to taste all that Tasmania has to offer.
The Events Minister getting a taste of what's to come. Local producers are putting the finishing touches to their tasty delights.
Lashings of sauce, you got mustard, you got mayo, you got tomato.
And there'll be no shortage of it at the Taste of Summer Festival.
The festival's looking really exciting.
This year's lineup boasting 75 vendors, producers and suppliers coming from across the state.
We've got stall holders coming from Smithton, we've got them from Launceston, from the East Coast, plenty from the Huon Valley and right up the Derwent Valley.
Locals and visitors travelling from far and wide for the summer offering, with more than 85,000 people expected to swarm Hobart's waterfront.
The Taste of Summer obviously is one of the key events in the summer calendar.
The event serving up some of Tasmania's best produce and showcasing the state's culinary expertise.
We've got pork and beef coming from Gemdale Farm down in the Huon. We've got amazing scallops from Bass Strait. We've got East Coast squid. We've got oysters coming from Bruny Island.
Giving local businesses vital exposure.
It's a terrific opportunity to put Tassie on the map. So many businesses use the taste as their first foray into really promoting themselves.
And highlighting the importance of paddock to plate.
They like to be able to know where the produce is coming from, to know that it's local.
Hobart's waterfront will come alive from December 28. Rebecca Gatineris at 7 Tasmania News.
Hobart's men's chorus Deep South are warming up their voices ahead of next Saturday's must-see concert for Barbershop ensemble enthusiasts. Testing their tunes on Salamanca market visitors today, the group practising everything from traditional ballads to contemporary tracks.
There's something about getting the voice together and actually generating something which is bigger than just any one individual can do.
Next week's event also including a youth and women's chorus and a cappella quartet, Mixed Signals, who've won gold at the Mixed Barbershop Quartet Championships for the last 3 years. Tickets for the event can be found online. Non-verbal children who use communication devices have taken part in a camp to help them interact with loved ones. This year's event focusing on ways to support the whole family unit through what can be a tough and isolating journey.
7-year-old Tommy has been diagnosed with cerebral palsy, which limits the ways in which he communicates.
It's really hard for him to have that voice valued and for people to understand that he's also a person.
Using complex technology called eye gaze, Tommy is able to use his eyes to interact.
All that sort of stuff is a really long journey. We're just starting out. Tommy's just starting with his eye gaze.
It's a system that falls under the umbrella of Augmentative and Alternative Communication Systems, or AAC.
What we're talking about is anything that's not speech, that augments or is instead of verbal speech.
This weekend, Tommy and his family are attending Variety's Motor-Mouth Camp, an event that champions the inclusion of AAC into everyday life.
It's really great to go somewhere where your access needs, your inclusion needs are nice and thought out rather than it being an afterthought.
Circus skills, music workshops and outdoor fun are all included in the 3-day camp.
And we've got amazing kids here who communicate in a variety of different ways, and there's so many ways that we can value that. and really bring that out in the way we design the camp.
Offering not just support for the children, but also for the parents in what can sometimes be an isolating journey.
It is the only opportunity for families to actually take a step back without having to feel that they're being judged or looked at, or their kids making noises that others might not like.
To come to things like this and actually feel like you're part of something is really worthwhile.
Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmania News.
The Jack Jumpers have lost their second away game of the season against the Cairns Taipans. Last night's heated exchange amplified by Bernie Boy turned Taipans guard Taran Armstrong, who suited up against his home side.
The opening term and both teams were ready to make a stand.
He's drimming from outside, he cans that one.
There was no love lost for Bernie's own Taran Armstrong, who was once a strong contender for a Jack Jumpers jersey.
Armstrong's up the floor immediately and gives it away.
Suiting up for the Taipans for the first time this season, the emerging point guard proved valuable for the hosts, with the score remaining close through the opening term.
Oh, Milton Doyle just too smooth with it.
It was the second quarter when the Snakes ran away with the lead, with a run of 13 consecutive points.
Galloway from outside.
The headache continuing in the third quarter for the Jack Jumpers.
Bradshaw can pile on the paint here to start the second half and does.
The visitors doing what they always do, refusing to get left behind.
His sword, scything his way inside.
But it was the Taipans with all the answers, scoring 3 straight buckets in the final term. With less than 2 minutes on the clock, tensions began to boil over.
Edwards are into it.
The Taipans winning 90-78. The Jack Jumpers getting a shot at redemption as they host the Perth Wildcats tomorrow afternoon. Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmania News.
And it's been a bowls bonanza in the state's north as 3 separate tournaments play out at one venue. Players packing out the East Launceston Bowls Club for our Richest Bowls Pairs event. With the Vikings prize pool doubling to $20,000, competition has been fierce.
Conditions have held out and there's lots of strong matchups even in the early rounds, which has been good for spectators.
Finals begin tomorrow morning. Stay with us. Kai Wicks will join us after the break with the week's weather forecast.
Good evening. 19 for both Hobart and Friendly Beaches today. Launceston and Burnie saw 17, 16 in Devonport. St Helens and Bushy Park 18, Flinders Island, Maria Island and Grove 17, 16 at Smithton, King Island, Strawn and Lowhead 15 and 11 at Lyweenie. We experienced overcast conditions across the state with patchy cloud extending to parts of the northeast and southeast today. A frontal cloud band is seen moving through Victoria and across Tasmania, with thunderstorms about Western Victoria behind the change. Tomorrow a weak front will brush the west while another front builds to the south of the bight. West to northwesterly winds 20 to 30 knots about most waters, increasing up to 35 knots about southern, western and northern waters. At times, westerly swells building to 4 metres. A gale warning has been issued tomorrow between Tasman Island around to St Helens Point. We also have a strong wind warning for all remaining coastal waters to include Storm Bay, the Channel and the Southwest Lakes. Warning also to sheep graziers on King Island and for the northwest coast. Perhaps a rain check quite literally for those outside shores tomorrow as showers are likely statewide. 17 expected for both Hobart and Richmond, 15. Showers likely to ease in the north, Launceston and Devonport both 17, 15 the top for Deloraine. Burnie and Curry 15, 14 the maximum for Strawn. 18 on the way for St Helens, 19 in Swansea and 15 for Whitemark. Monday showers about the west and north extending statewide during the morning. Snow falling to 600 metres with possible hail about the west and south. A morning frost likely about inland parts and also for the north on Tuesday, followed by light showers about the west and south. Snow falling to 700 metres in the south. And on Wednesday, inland frost continue, followed by partly cloudy skies statewide. Here's what's happening further north tomorrow. Morning showers forecast for Adelaide 21, warming up in Sydney 28. Showers easing in Melbourne, they're maxing out at 19 degrees. 11 currently in Hobart, Launceston and also in Devonport remaining cloudy. A reminder again that clocks go back by forward at 1 hour at 2 a.m. Perfect weather conditions, Lou, for a Sunday sleep in, I'm thinking.
You might get it. I certainly won't with 2 little ones. Thank you for that, Kaya. That's all your news for this Saturday night. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be with you tomorrow. Good night.